The Teen Phantom Part 35 in audio. Ben loves to write and he is the best. He made things happen. We had the best paper in the country. He was its vitality and life. Joe was worthy of respect. I think he loved you very much. That was why he could appreciate you being with Ben. You really think he appreciated me being with Ben? Joe wanted you to be happy. That is what true love is. It is not going to bed with someone that is sex. That is thinking only about what you want, not the well-being of the other person. And he may have known his life would be short. I have gathered from what I have heard and from what you say he may have had a secret terminal illness. I had never viewed it from that perspective, Charlotte. I think you are right. I have never seen a boy that showed such love and care as Joe did for me, and he held Ben in highest respect. When they have finished lunch they begin their walk to the rec hall. They hear someone speaking to the prospective student as they emerge from the building. I was so depressed and miserable I considered myself on the threshold of hell. A little girl whom I thought to be a little angel, though I have never believed in angels, took me into the forest that lies beyond the buildings here at the school. She had me to sit on a stump and to be honest and sort out the good things in my life. She said she would see that I got back to the school, then she vanished. I was not able to bring any good thing to mind, so I just turned my thought to the great creation that lay before me, as the forest is my paradise. Swan has been standing very still listening with carefulness, then she turns to Charlotte. That sounds like Ben Mason. You really think so? Yes, he must be here. Two little girls approached me from behind. The older one begins to speak to me. I was rude. I would not turn around. She was very kind and pleaded with me. She finally asked me if I was going to turn around and come with her, or was she going to have to come and fetch me. The next thing I knew she was sitting in my lap. Her arms were around me with love radiating from her in a way I have never experienced before. I broke down and began to cry. I listened carefully to everything she said. It was not long before she convinced me that I really did not have any problems. It was all in my negative thinking. When I really come to life, is when she convinced me that I was not blind, it was just that my eyes were not working. That is Ben Mason. Swan looks at Charlotte with accusing eyes. A close friend of yours, a close friend detained you. You left your little girl to help that close friend, we should say to be his seeing eye dog. She didn't see it that way. She told him she would be much above that. She could read for him about anything that he needed to know. She could take the pictures and tell him what she saw. She thought they would be a great news team. A 6-year-old. He is in the 12th grade. She is almost 7. Almost 7, didn't you hear me? He is in the 12th grade. Sarah's first words were her alphabet, and at a little past 2 and by 3 she became very serious about the whole thing. I never pushed her, but I was not about to hold her back. Then she told Ben, today if you do not like to read, you do not like to learn. Swan is staring at Charlotte with very serious scrutiny. I do not believe this. I am as blind as Ben. You do not look but 8 or 9 years old yourself. Sally, should you be insulting Charlotte like that? That was not an insult, Dorothy. I do not want to get old. Some say I look like an 8-year-old. I am only 12. Swan did not mean it as an insult. I really didn't, Charlotte. I am just very confused. Swan, do not call Ben blind or even think he is. It is just that his eyes are not working. Swan looks as if Charlotte had thrown a bucket of rattlesnakes at her. You certainly sound like a little 8-year-old, not blind. His eyes just don't work. You are scaring me, Charlotte. You actually convinced him of that, did you? I cannot believe he is that gullible. Swan, you yourself said you were as blind as Ben. Please just hear my explanation. I think you will see how vital it is to speak and think positive if you will listen. Swan looks puzzled. You are actually serious? This is hard to believe. I will be patient. I realize I said I was as blind as Ben, as all the time we have talked I never realized you look so young. All I have seen is those dazzling talking eyes of yours. You literally take possession with those eyes of yours, Charlotte. You do a careful research on the word blind, you will find it has many definitions. You used it correctly when you spoke that you was as blind as Ben, since you were not referring to the eye itself but the comprehension of the mind. Your eyes worked quite well but the comprehension of your mind was lacking and you called that blind. Ben's comprehension has increased considerable since his eyes quit working. It may seem strange, he can see better with his comprehension than many with good working eyes. He is not as handicapped as most think he would be. I would rather have Ben on my news team than most with good working eyes. Both Swan and her mother look at Charlotte with fascination. Ben is a very sincere and honest kid. He will not be twisting the truth to fit anyone's lying tweaked quirks. Ben loves you very much, Swan. He realizes he treated you very badly. You tried so hard and faithful to help him get his life together, then you left a gruesome dark hole in his life when you left. Swan engulfs Charlotte in her arms. I will never call Ben blind again. He sees much better than I do. Now I know, Bill said I would need to find out about you for myself. I love you so much, Charlotte. Charlotte knew it to be true. Like sun rays, Swan's love sank into her depth as their spirits entwined together. Then Charlotte finds herself in Dorothy's arms receiving true love. I am so grateful. This is like I would expect heaven to be. That is the way Ben sees it, Dorothy. As they make their way toward the rec hall, Swan with a mischievous smile speaks. How long have you worked with Ben? I met him for the first time on the trail this morning. He was sitting on the stump my little girl and I usually sit on for a while when we go on our hike. You were not the little fairy that took him into the forest then? On the other hand, maybe your little girl was the little fairy. You may even have a little friend as sneaky and as clever as you are. I have always wondered about fairies and angels. We were just on our Sunday morning hike. That is very interesting and strange, and since Ben's eyes don't work, we will never know, will we? Then Swan looks at Charlotte with a teasing smile. You are a clever little phantom, Charlotte, and Mello is very clever and he is your exceptionally loyal friend, but my lips are sealed. Dorothy makes a startled sound. Oh, you. She starts to speak but puts her hand to her mouth and remains silent, and she is very happy and remains ecstatic. When they reach the rec hall, Charlotte realizes there are few parents in the rec hall. It looks as though most of the prospective students are down here in the rec hall. They maneuver around the edge of the room. They make it to where Sarah and Ben are interviewing. It is just in front of the stage. There is a small group standing around Sarah and Ben, but Swan works herself through the group and she stands by Ben. Ben finishes with the one he is interviewing, then Swan steps in front of Ben and wraps her arms around Ben without saying a word. The audience is looking on in awe. It has been 6 long miserable months, Ben, but I never forgot you for a moment. I could not contact any of my friends. It is wonderful to be with you again. Swan, I was an idiot. You tried so hard to help me. I am very sorry for the way I treated you. I have always loved you. Joe was my best friend. He loved you very much and I could never come between the two of you. Karen was so beautiful. I didn't have a chance with you. It was only on the outside. Her spirit was not very beautiful. Neither of us knew what love was. After Charlotte got through to me, I realized I have lived like a blind person until today. Now I can see. It is just that my eyes are not working yet. I expect them to work someday after I have learned to live without them. The audience is very concerned. Swan, I would like you to meet my associate. This is Sarah May Chapman. Ben speaks as he turns his head to the right and down just as if he is looking at Sarah. Sarah, this is a very faithful friend of mine. We knew each other about a year before my eyes quit working. Swan scoops Sarah up in her arms and gives Sarah a meaningful hug. You are a fortunate little girl to have the loving and caring mother that you have, and you have teamed up with one of the greatest journalists, and those eyes of his going on strike are not going to slow him down with you by his side. When Sarah gets her feet on the floor again, she looks up to Swan with concern. What you say is all true, but you should be by his side now. You need to catch up on many things and meet his parents. They were very worried about his morbid condition. We found him in a hopeless state on the trail this morning. You're a sweet little thing. Beth is right, you certainly are like your mother, enough to be her own flesh and blood. Thank you, Swan. You really adore that mother of yours, don't you? Yes, it is like Bill says, she is an extension of my first mother. Yes, that is like something Bill would come up with. He's a sharp kid, he lives his life like an open book. Swan, you have met Charlotte. I have spent the last hour or so with her. I don't know how to express my gratitude for the love and care she has given you. You are a privileged one to have spent that much time with her. She will bring happiness to many people. I have a very clear view of how to express my gratitude for her love and care. How is that? Dedicate my life and spirit to the mission in life that she has, which is to give everyone something for which to live, a true purpose in life, that will make Charlotte happier than anything that anyone could utter from their lips. Ben's statement brought a flood of tears to Charlotte's eyes. Charlotte is right, you do have a better perception than any with good working eyes. I am with you, Ben. I know that it is what Charlotte lives for. To see others make that dedication is, definitely her greatest joy. Ben takes his mic off and gives it to Sarah. Would you see that Mello gets this? You are right, Sarah. Swan and I are going to make up for lost time. We must go up and meet both of our parents, and I am looking forward to working with you later, Sarah. Swan and Ben head for the sanctuary as many moist eyes follow them. They are looking forward to hearing from you, Charlotte. Come with me and I will introduce you. Mello takes Charlotte's hand. He leads her up to the middle of the stage. There is a desk with a control panel for the sound system there. Charlotte can stand or sit with good control of the panel. It is my pleasure to introduce to you all, Sasha Charlotte Chapman. She prefers to be called Charlotte. She is the one we have been looking forward to meet and hear, and I will clue you in on a secret. She may reprimand me for disclosing it, but Charlotte is the one that makes it happen. Then he scuttles off the stage, head down, bent over as though he is sneaking away. First, I want you all to know I will not be reprimanding Mello. It is not my way to reprimand anyone, especially a male figure. Perhaps some would consider me a little old-fashioned to give honor to the male, but it is just the way my great creator fashioned me. Mello may be having difficulty seeing me as I am. I am just a little 12-year-old being honest with life and everyone the best I can. It is all of you, it is you that will make it happen, as this is your school. I have the most assured confidence in all of you. You will make this school a spectacle in the eye of the whole world. It will take all of us working with perfect teamwork to accomplish the things we need to achieve. We all are determined to achieve that goal, and it is both personal and collective as one force. Though I have helped in some ways to bring this school about, it is my dear father and a very dear friend and associate, Vanessa Tess Vanderf, who has made all of this possible, and it took long hours and hard work. Vanessa is our programmer. When she came to join her efforts with ours, she was 10 years old. There were two things my father and I were determined to obtain. It was nothing but truth to be our guide, and it would be a student-governed school instead of a board of adults. It is the reason for the school to lose its religious identity, since religion is a belief without facts and truth. It also acquired a new name, the Truth and Life Academy. Truth is the existence of all things. Life is truth in motion. Academy is the highest institution of learning. This is not a speech that I am making. This is just a clever way to speak with all of you collectively, and if any of you have a question or are aware of something that I am overlooking, or you would just like to speak to us all, just press the speak button on the back of the seat in front of you. When the green light appears, speak to us all. Each button has a number that displays on my control panel. When I press the number on my control panel, your green light will come on so you can speak. Since the advanced students will reach down to the less advanced in case of a problem, there is no need to employ teachers. One could think of this institution as being a living organism. As it grows, it will nourish and support itself.